herself once again on the Santiago Creek Trail. Look at this bird. Look at that bird. It's just been there crapping on that rock for days. What the heck kind of bird is that? Oh, look at that one too, that white one. I know you guys aren't going to be able to see him very good. Crazy. Alright, so welcome to my channel, Orange County Commuter, where we commute daily from Orange to Irvine and Irvine back to Orange. It's 7:09. I think today we're going to be taking Broadway. So we'll take the Santiago Creek Trail to Broadway. Go up and over the 5 freeway and take Broadway all the way to Maine. That's it. Once again, it's cold. Freezing diesel. Frozen dozen. We gotta practice on our curb skills. So this one has, oh shoot, I'm going over into the box. I usually don't go over on that side. Oh. I gotta work on my balancing skills. I was good on my on the other Windhorse. I could go pretty far. This one I'm not so good. I'm not so good on this one. It's too extreme, like, it's hard to explain. This bike is, the back shock kind of like bucks you up off the seat. This is the one I really want to do. That's a long route. Man, it's so cold. crazy. She needs a helmet. So there's a retirement home right here. So that lady went and got herself a little e-scooter. I don't know if she lives right here, but that's what I'm guessing. So a lot of the older generation of people you see on the trail live in this retirement community over here. It's pretty amazing. Like, I don't know if I would be that old on a little scooter. Scooters are so sketchy. She was cruising at a good speed though, safe speed. You only live once. I don't know how cold it is, but it's definitely annoying. Oh, I feel like I just passed this lady when I got on the trail. Oh no, that's a different dog. It's a different dog. A lot of traffic. A lot of traffic over here. It's 65. I guess that's not that cold, but it feels cold to me. And these little bikes, you get the wind chill factor. God, it was getting crazy. It was getting European on us. We used to be able to go down this hill right here and then put a fence up. Kids are launching off of that then. Alright, I gotta stop for a minute. You guys can enjoy this beautiful view. Man. So I got a crazy country song stuck in my head called Sittin' Fancy Free. I don't even know who sings it. Maybe the Statler brothers? I'm sitting fancy free, even though I love her still. Let's see who sings it. Oak Ridge Boys. I should have known. Hell yeah. Oh shit, I don't know why that was so funny, dude. Those people, those guys doing that little freaking jump exercise, the high knee in unison. That was awesome. So yesterday we went on this side, so today we'll go on this side. Do some high knees. Oh, we got Santa Ana PD down here. We got a couple of people right there smoking. That dude's literally smoking right now. And the cops are parked right here. Where are the police? They're not in their car. They must have gone down to that dead end. I'm kind of tempted to see. We've gone down there before, so right along the freeway, on that side and this side, this one's locked. I haven't gone far down that one, but this one right here, I've gone down to the end of that one, and I've gone down to the end of the one that the police are on right now. I'm gonna be late for work, but I'm just curious if they're down. And there's a tunnel right here at this used to be called the Badlands Bike Shop right here. There's a tunnel right here. And this is where that guy used to hang out and work on bikes. But I don't see the police in their cruisers, so I'm assuming that they're down this path right here. So I don't know how far I've gone in this section here, but I'm assuming I've gone pretty far down here. This just means we're gonna have to ride faster. I don't see any police. But man, This is like freaking. I don't want to get a flat tire. But it's pretty nasty down here. If you look at, if you think about all the strange activities that have gone on here, down here through the years. When I was in high school, this is like the type of spot we would have hung out at. Smoking on that ganja. Listening to Spice One, smoking on that ganja, drinking a 40. Where the police are, though. What time it is. Maybe they're on bikes. Maybe they brought bikes on their trucks and they're like cruising the trail. That's why I like going this way, because there's always like something, not always, but there's always potentially something crazy going on. Some strange activities down here on the creek. This is a dog training facility right here. See, this says Police Canine Center. And we've gone up there before too, but if you go up there, there's an open field with all kinds of obstacles and stuff where you can take your German Shepherd. We're gonna have to speed it up. Have to endure the cold. If we start riding a little more aggressively, I'll probably forget how cold I am. And as a kid, like, you don't think, like, we used to go out. I guess when you're riding a regular bike, it's different. I can remember being out in the wintertime, no jacket, in the rain. No matter how cold it was, we were out, like, doing stuff. But now that I'm older, I don't know, man. I just can't tolerate the cold. I don't like being cold anymore. Like I said, I lost a lot of weight too. I've lost like I don't know how many pounds. At least 10 or 15 pounds. But I didn't have any weight to lose. It's not like I was heavy at all. I think I was 185. I'm probably 170 now. Real. I don't have the type of, I'm only 5'9", but I don't have the stature to be like a light, like 135 pound. Like you'll see some of these MMA fighters that are my height that weigh like 140 pounds. I could never weigh 140 pounds. I would be totally sucked up. But I have like dense bones, a bigger, like wider stature. I'll start the video right here. A lot of these cars have been stuck on the freeway. So when they get down here on Broadway, they're like ready to launch. So this gutter is actually a little bit nicer than the street in that section. Jump up here. Warming up. All the human activity in the city starting to heat it up a little bit. Wow, look at their gas, it's pretty cheap. $4.69. What's Arco at? Colonial mortuary. I've talked about it before. I used to, I don't remember all the stuff that I've, I guess I'm a broken record. But I used to work at a flower shop and I used to deliver flowers, so I really enjoyed it. It was a good job. We had, like, in my neighborhood, we had like probably 3 or 4. I lived in downtown. I've always tried to live in the downtown areas. And I lived downtown and worked at a flower shop, and so I spent my day like, so I would get to work and they would, on like a couple days out of the week, we would receive shipments of flowers. And I'd unload the flowers, put them in this shed, cut the stems, put them in some buckets of water. Then I would, this girl named Marisol, I think her name was it Marisol? No, it wasn't Marisol. What was her name? Her name was, I don't know what her name was. But this was the crew, so the person that owned it was an older Mexican couple, and they were like pretty, their business did good, and I think they probably owned some real estate stuff too. They were very affluent couple. It was Gilbert was the man, and he was really grumpy. He was probably about in his late 70s. His wife, also the same age. She was pretty, she was nice, but she was also kind of mean at the same time. And then they had this younger girl that was like pretty much ran the business for them. And she was super sweet. Just like your typical kind of like think she was going to college, like Porterville College, and was like a very Christian type of girl, and Catholic. They were all Catholic. And then the flower arranger, their main flower arranger, his name was Louis. He was like, looked like he'd probably done some time. He was older, like in his 50s. And then there was an older white lady who was very subservient to the owner, like the female owner, whatever her name was. I can't remember what her name was. And then there was me, the freaking delivery driver. Oh, and then there was another delivery driver. Her name was Goldie. And she was a white chick that was also very Christian and a student. And I think she was friends with the other girl that I can't remember her name. Her name was was it Mariana? Mariana. Something like that. I was thinking Marisol. I know it wasn't Marisol, so I think it was Mariana. Maybe it was Marisol. Doesn't matter. And they had an Astro van, and that's what I would deliver flowers in. And during that time, I drove a Volkswagen Bug that was lowered, an old one. I don't know what year it was, like a 1960 to 62 or something. It was blue, and it was lowered, like a royal blue, like the Blue Angels blue. And it was lowered with hubcaps, like chrome hubcaps, and had those little handle sunroof. It wasn't super nice, you know what I mean? It's like most Volkswagens kind of beat down a little bit, but it was cool, you know. It had chrome bumpers on it and little chrome things around the lights. Super low. I'll be bouncing down the road on that bad boy. It had a good motor in it. I don't know like anything about cars, but I know it was fast for a Volkswagen. I guess they have like certain sizes of motors, and it was one that was definitely pretty fast. I bought it for like $800. But like I was saying, there's like lots of mortuaries around that area in downtown, and so the flower shop was called Smith's Flowers, ironically enough. So it was probably originally, it used to be Smith grocery store on one side of the street, and then Smith's Flowers on the other side. So I'm thinking that like Smith's Flowers probably was originally owned by Mr. Smith, who was another affluent local businessman. You know, these small town money, that type of situation. So then I'd get my deliveries together, and this was before cell phones, so I had to use a map. But I knew the city pretty good, so it wasn't too hard. And I would go out as far as probably this little town called Lindsay. So I would go pretty far, and then I'd also go to all the mortuaries. So like my day would look like that. I would have a bunch of morning deliveries. I'll go hit those morning deliveries up, and then I would hit. And then I'd have to come in. They'd say, all right, Chris, you got all these, knock these out right now. And then when you get back, you know, you're going to go to Whitehurst and Lloyd and take a casket piece down to them. And then you're going to hit, the cemetery, St. Anne's Cemetery, drop these off there. And you've got another casket piece at this place. So like every day I was, going to those funeral homes, and like even like this one funeral home I would go to, I would have to take the casket pieces in, and they would be preparing the body. So there was a guy that worked at this one that was a feminine type of guy, but he was really big. Like, he seemed like he was an islander, like an oos from, you know, an islander, man. He was a big dude, like, but he was a little flamboyant, so he wore makeup too, and but he would do the makeup on all the bodies, and so I would see him occasionally. So I'd have to drive my van down into this little subterranean area, and then I'd pull the casket pieces out and lay them on the coffins. And I had to do that at a lot of funerals. So I would pretty much every day I would be going to a church where they had open caskets, and I'd have to walk through all the people that were in mourning, the grief-stricken, with this casket pieces, and you know, put the flowers right there. I did that hundreds of times, probably thousands of times. I don't know how long I worked for them. Not a long time, maybe a couple of years. But it was interesting. It was. I liked it because I love cemeteries, and I know that sounds weird, but I like cemeteries, you know. So oftentimes I would go and park at the cemetery and have to set up like all the flowers around graves, you know, on those little stands. Or I would drive around to cemeteries and reclaim the stands that we would put our flowers on, the wreaths. I was always delivering wreaths. It was interesting though, like putting the casket pieces on. You look over and you can see these people that were not alive. It's just a really strange feeling. I've seen a lot of dead people. I'm trying to think if I've seen anybody get killed. I've seen dead people, like, besides that, I don't know. But like, I have seen, when I was in high school, there was a guy that overdosed. I found out later that he overdosed, but a guy overdosed in the apartments upstairs from me. And years later, I was suspicious of it to begin with, but I was in high school and I lived at these apartments on North E Street in Porterville, and pretty rough area. And up above us, there was there's just different things going on in different apartments. So you had like one apartment would have like there was a biracial couple, like a black dude and a white chick, and they were into what they were into. So this is the 90s. They were into crack, and I know that because everybody knows each other's business. And then there was another black couple, John and Monica, who I was really good friends with. And they liked to party too. They were old school, you know, really cool people, good people. And they were more into like drinking and a little bit of that yayo. And then in the corner next to John and Monica was kind of a white trash, I shouldn't say white trash, kind of a couple that had a bunch of kids, and they were the junkies. And the story, and so one morning, I don't think I was going to school at the time. I think I had dropped out. Like, I dropped soon as I turned 18 as a senior, maybe I was, because I don't feel like I was a senior at that time. I think I was younger than that. I wasn't going to school though, and on that day. I know that for sure. And my friend Ryan, when I did go to school, he would pick me up. He came by for some reason. I guess maybe I was going out, but I knew I wasn't planning on going to school because I wasn't getting ready for school. I was like asleep. My friend Ryan woke me up, like tapping on my window, and he's like, "Hey, dude," he's like, "Yo, come out here, man. The cops are all over the place." And I was like, "What the hell?" And he says, so I come out the front door and there's yellow tape like all over the parking structure in my apartments. And he had parked down the road. I guess, I don't know if he walked down the alley or what. And then I walked through there was like facing out of my window was a parking covering, like a parking awning. You could park like 10 cars. And then in the front, there was a little garage that went subterranean. It was exposed to the outside, but it just a little ramp that dropped down, and it was right next to the laundry room. So if you walk out of my apartment, you could end up past the laundry room and into that little carport. It's called a carport. And like, I walked down there and I walked past the laundry port, or into the carport, past the laundromat, and I looked down and there's a dead body like laying all purple and bloated from underneath, kind of not underneath the car, but like right in front of a car. And like the medical examiners were like out in the street and stuff. So like I had just approached it from the back side so we didn't get stopped. And so later on, years later, the guy that lived upstairs, his name was Kenny. I ran into him in a place where they keep people who do crime. And he told me, he's like, you remember that? We were reminiscing, and he's like, yeah, you remember that time that dude died at our apartments? And I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. I was like, my friend woke me up and I see him down in the carport. He's like, yeah, that guy right there, he's like, that guy overdosed in my apartment. So that guy had just gotten out of jail and went up to Kenny's, and Kenny told him, like, dude, like, that's too much, you know, or whatever. That guy's like, no, I can do it. And he OD'd in Kenny's apartment, so Kenny dragged him down the stairs and put him in there in the carport. It's gnarly. Then the other one, I used to live in this place called Desert Hot Springs. And not Desert Hot. I did live in Desert Hot Springs, but I lived in this town called Adelanto at this time. I was living with my dad, so I was about 20 years old, and I had met a friend named Steven from work. I worked out in a recycled rubber factory, so they would take old rubber, melt it down, formulate it, make sheets of rubber, and then put the rubber sheets in these machines and press them into tires. Really hard job. But I was rolling with Steven and his wife one night. We went to the city. Like, I think it was Hesperia. There's Hesperia and there's another city next to it, and in the high desert. And we had gone and done something, like gone to a bar or something like that. And we went in my car, and I was going back to Adelanto, and I dropped Steven and his wife off, and then in between Steve, and this is like, if you look up Adelanto, it's a really weird type of layout of the city. They had built a lot of homes for like George Air Force Base, but a lot of them were abandoned. And this would have been in the 90s as well. late 90s. Anyway, like, so the layout's really weird. So you're in the high desert, and then you have like lots of apartment complexes, you know, spread out, and in between them there's a lot of fields, and then some of the apartment complexes are abandoned and boarded up, and some of them aren't. So meth was like really popular back then. So there was just always it was really weird. There's a lot of street activity and actually a lot of gang activity in those areas, even though it wasn't like densely populated and spread out. It was like really like a total wasteland. And so that's the type of area I was driving through at night. And then I lived in a duplex with my dad. So that's where I was heading back home. And there was a bunch of, not a bunch, just a few police cars. Oh, look at that. Oh, I was out. But there was a few police cars on the side of the road and directing me around the scene. So there was something going on in the middle of the road, and then I saw my neighbor there, and she's on the side of the road crying, and so I pull over on the side of the road to go around. So like I'm in the desert, but my lights are shining on this body on the ground, and it was my neighbor. She lived in an apartment next to me, like with her brother, and it was her brother. And they're like, she's like, I don't remember his name. She was just like totally hysterical, and he was dead. Like I had seen, that was my neighbor. He had gotten stabbed. He got in a fight in the street. He got stabbed in the stomach and bled out like right there. Wow. I think that is really the only bodies, like the only dead people I've ever seen. I'm trying to think if there's been any. I mean, I'm sure there's more than that, but I mean, I've seen tons of dead people like at work. And of course, I was with my mom when she passed away, but that's a little different. I guess that's kind of a morbid thing to talk about. this video up here. Luckily we made it to work safely. Still have about a block to go. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you made it this far, you are a true champion and supporter of the Orange County Commuter channel. 51 minutes. Catch you on the next one.